Hi, it's Coach Maggie, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my passion. And some of you have been following me on Facebook, my Facebook page, Coach Maggie, as well as my website, Coach Maggie for Health. And I just wanted to share a little bit about this journey that I've been on. And I decided that I really love thinking about health and wellness. And really, in the past, I pretty much thought as long as I eat healthy, as long as I exercise, then I'm going to be healthy. And I realized soon that that was not the case, that there's so much more to it. And so I decided to investigate because I wanted to get some more formal education. And so I looked around and I found out about the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. It has an online program in New York City, and I signed up for the year-long program. And in the course of that, my eyes were open to so many other things that do factor into health. I think really intuitively I knew these things, but it was interesting to see the science to prove it. And the school says that there are 4 areas, and actually they call them primary foods, although they're not foods that you put in your mouth. The first one is spirituality, and this one I definitely knew. We all, whether we necessarily want to admit it or not, I think most of us realize that there is a higher power, that we're not here by accident, that we have a life purpose. And a lot of people haven't figured that out, and it factors into how we feel about ourselves, how we feel about life. As long as I know, for me personally as a Christian, that there is a God in heaven who's watching out for me, it gives me a sense of security. And so spirituality is very, very important. And often when people are lacking that element, it factors into so many other areas, worry, stress, which of course does affect your health. The next big item that affects our health is relationships. We, I'm sure, have all at times had relationships that were not the best. And again, they take their toll on our bodies, emotionally and sometimes physically. If we are involved in toxic relationships, there's a lot of stress. We know stress affects us in an adverse way. Another area is career. And boy, don't we see this. We see people that are unhappy in their jobs, and it often takes its toll on their bodies. And again, it may not show up. That's the thing that I think maybe was the biggest surprise, is that often disease and sickness is in our body for years, in some cases 20 to 30 years before it ever shows itself. And so even though we think some of these things don't really matter, they do. And when they actually surface, sometimes it's too late, or it's at least at a point where it's causing us a lot of problems. The last one is physical activity, and of course that's one that I knew. But again, it isn't so much anymore that you necessarily have to work out a certain number of minutes a day or a week. It's that we need to be physically active. We sit entirely too long, and many of us have jobs where we sit, but we need to be up and moving. And I realize that isn't always the easiest thing on the job, but we need to be more active than we are, and we need to be getting outside and getting fresh air. And so these are the primary foods, and they definitely factor into our health. It isn't just about the numbers on a scale. It's a lot about what's going on really in all areas of our lives. What we think in our mind, we can't keep a secret from the rest of our body. Mind and body work hand in hand. And so it's been an interesting journey as I've looked and learned more, again, about things that I think intuitively I knew, but now I know for a fact. And so as a health coach, that is part of my job, is helping people make that connection, helping them realize areas where maybe they're struggling. The problem is you may have 3 of those 4 areas where you're doing great, but if you're struggling in one, it's going to affect you in the others. And so we want that very balanced life. So give some thought to these 4 areas. Are you struggling in one of those areas? Is there something that maybe you need to take care of in order to really truly be healthy? You don't want to wait till you begin to see the sickness take over your body. I hope that you will check out my website, Coach Maggie for Health, and follow me on Facebook. I try to give helpful tips each day and to get people thinking. And so we want the best. We want our bodies to be strong. We want to be in a place where we can help those around us and not be a burden to our loved ones. It's not a matter of living till we're 90 or 100 if we're going to be sickly, but we want to live the best that we can and be a blessing to those around us. So I hope that you'll keep these things in mind, and until next time, we'll talk soon.